Can you put this together? Maybe. I did. If I can do it, I think you can do it. Hang out with me and I'll show you what worked and what didn't work and what I learned from putting this together. This is a long video, but I'll show you how I organized my pieces, categorized them, and took this from beginning to end. I purchased mine off of Wayfair. It's called a Deniece armoire, but you can also buy this off of Amazon. If you'll check in the text below and in the comments, I'll provide a link where you can buy this exact wardrobe in case you're interested. I wanted something to hold some specific items in the family room, so this suited my needs. I read the reviews on Wayfair about how easy or how difficult people viewed it as putting it together, and so that helped me when I got ready to put mine together. So I'll show you some tricks that I learned and some little stumbling blocks that I came across. Even though I say in the video that I will never do this again, I'm probably going to buy another one of these for another room in the house because I'm quite pleased with the way that it turned out. Directions say a number 2 Phillips screwdriver, and the tip is shown the size. I think this is my number 2, yes. So that works. Not actual size. I've read through the instructions and they seem pretty clear. It tells you not to use a power drill. And it has some cute little tips on each page to try to get you through this. I've written some things on the side to help me get my head around what all these parts are. I did wipe all of my pieces off with a damp cloth with some Murphy's oil soap on it because there was a little bit of residue on the pieces and I didn't really want to work with that. I'm making labels for my parts, and this one has an H on the back of it telling me that it is the right door. This one has an I, so I know it's the left door. We need to have the holes for the handles so that they're in the center, and the louvers on the door, they're fake, just something else to have to clean. Make sure they're both going down. I read a lot of reviews on Wayfair about this before I purchased it, and as many others have said, the back is really just thick cardboard. Be very careful about that. Make sure that you put it in a nice flat place while you assemble this. The 4 adjustable shelves have the finish on both sides, and I didn't see a letter of the alphabet on them, but you'll know that that's what they are because there's 4 of those and they're just little squares. Since the adjustable shelves go in last, I've set them to the side out of my way for right now. What they're calling A, the right end, and B, the left end, I'm calling the sides. It's actually what's going to be on the side, the right side, and the left side of the piece of furniture when you get it put together. And they don't have any markings on them telling you which side is which or which is top or bottom. But because I read ahead, I know that I'm going to have to put some cams in these, in the little round parts, and know that that part's going to be closest to the top. And I'll know that the bottom is going to be the piece that the skirt's going to fit over this, and I'll have to put the bottom shelf in right there. So the part that has the most with no holes is going to be the bottom, and the part that's got the hole closest to the edge is going to be the top. So this will be the top of one of my sides, and I'll need to spin this one around because this is the bottom of the other one. Well, actually in flipping them around, I see that this one has an A on it, and this one has a B on it. So they are identified. I've seen a few nicks on this. There's one of them that's probably not going to matter because it's going to be on the back side. So now I have my A and my B labeled out. And for some reason, the first thing we'll do is we'll put B on before we put A on. So I've laid them out like that. This piece is D. It's going to be the top. 2 ways I know that. One, it has a D on the back of it. It's going to go on top. And because I read ahead, I know that the top has a rounded edge. And my D has a rounded edge. Right here, it's a little curved. Here's my bottom, F. It has the 2 holes in it that the upright C is going to go on. There's F. The upright C is going to be on top of those. And they have marked it with an F on the back side. This is my C. It has a piece of wood down here without holes. A piece of wood up here without holes. And then holes here. That's for the pegs to go in to put the shelves on. This is the C. I'm calling it they call it the upright. I call it the inside middle. They have it labeled with the C. That's the piece that's going to go right up in here, and then you'll put little pegs in to hold the shelf's J in. So I'm calling it the inside middle. They call it upright. I'm calling it inside middle. This piece is E, the shelf. I'm calling it the top inside shelf. This is the part that will be inside that you can actually store things on. That's why I'm calling it the inside shelf. So it goes right there. It will sit on top of the C and attach to the A and B sides. Here's what I hope is all the hardware. It's labeled. There's one that says it's empty. The instruction book gives us a nice graphic with the corresponding codes on them. It tells you how many pieces are in each one and shows you what it looks like. So on the screws, you have to make sure if it's flat with a little bump up like that, or true flat head, or a pan head when it comes around with a little bump on the top. Flat head, flat head. And also go by the color. Some are silver, some are black. So there's some clues. I am all designated out and ready to start putting this thing together. We can do this, right? Yes, we can. So the first thing I'm going to need, it tells you to do it on a carpeted floor or the carton so that you don't scratch things. And I'm on carpet, so that's good. Got to get the 14 cams. So I'm going to look for those in the hardware. And that's going to be 1F and 2F. But they have them mixed together with a 5/7S. So I've got to separate all of those. I don't know why they mix all those together because they don't really have anything to do with each other. But let's get those separated and laid out first. These appear to be the hidden cams. And they have an arrow on them, which is going to be important later on. They have to be pointed a certain way. So I should have 14 of these. These should be what they're calling cam dowels, and I should have 14 of those as well. According to the labeling, I should have 1F and 2F, about 14 each of those. Then 5/7S, I should have 7 of those. That's supposed to be 5/7S, 7 of those. It's going to be 2-inch flathead screws. I do have 7 of the screws. I do have 14 of the cam dowels, 2F. And I do have 14 of the 1F hidden cams. We have 14 of the things that are going to be the cam sets. The instructions tell you to put 14 hidden cams, these, into the ends A and B, 1, 2, 3, 4, the upright, 5, 6, shelf E, 7, 8, and bottom F, 9, 10. And then it goes on to the next part. So I'm assuming it's going to also be on the ends of F and E, 11, 12, 13, 14. Also, it's showing you that the arrow has to be pointed towards the cam dowel, and the middle part of the cam dowel has to go in towards the middle part on that. Show you that again at the bottom, that the middle part of this has that little arrow. You can see it's like a cross that wants to stick in the ground. So that little arrow part has to be pointed towards the cam dowel. Additionally, the middle part on the cam dowel has to be going towards the middle part there. So it goes in like that. They tell you do not tighten the hidden cams in this step. We'll do that later when we get it all put together. So we'll take one of these, drop it in here, and make sure our arrow is pointed towards the down part. I'm going to take this, put the middle end like that. It's going to go in there like that, and then we'll tighten it later. Arrow down. arrow down, silver end in, silver end in. We've done A and B. Now let's do C. Arrow down, arrow down, silver end in, silver end in. Now we have C done. So on F, the bottom, I actually have to flip it over and put these in on the bottom. Arrow down, arrow down, silver side in, silver side in, and I need to repeat on the other side. Bottom's done. Now we'll do E, and again E must be flipped over to do 1, 2, 3, 4. So E shelf is done. So we have completed everything on step 1. They also tell you can get some probably better help than mine. Step 2, we're going to put the moldings together. I'll need the molding connectors, which is 18F, as well as the pieces L, M, and N. So molding connectors 18F will be these 2 pieces. They're just little plastic pieces. They're going to pop down in there, I believe. They're not exactly the same on either side. So I'm going to have to flip mine upside down and swap my sides. So we're just supposed to pop the flat end. It's going to be on the top, and the curved end will be on the bottom. It tells you to make sure that you're looking at the unfinished surface. They need to be upside down. And we finally get to use a tool. Use the hammer to tap the molding connectors into the notches in the moldings. So we have them upside down. Put it together. Flat side goes on the top. Probably should get a cloth or something and put underneath this. I think I will. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of, that it was going to knock some of that off. I hope that's right, because it's in there. Flat side up. That one does not want to go in as nicely. It was easier to hammer in. So we have the molding put together, and did have a little, I don't know if that was there already or if I think maybe the hammering slid the finish off. So I suggest using the towel. We have step 2 finished. Now that we have M, L, and N, M, L, and N put together, it's time to put them on top of D. And that's the top. So we have a curved edge here. They want the side with the holes going up. We'll place this on top. We're going to need the silver 2-inch flat head screws, which is 57S. We looked at those earlier. Another cool tip, remember righty tighty, lefty loosey. So we're going to come back to 57S, where we've already used those cams. Get our screws. And it shows to screw them in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Have the curve dashed towards the outside. So I should see, I can't because it's so dark in there. There we are. We want that hole right there. I'm going to do the center one first, but I'm having to get a flashlight to look down in there to make sure I see the hole. And I can't get the camera and the flashlight both going at the same time to show you that. I can see the hole down in there. So now I fill it in there. Check in the text below this video and also in the comments section. I'll provide a link for either this exact product or something similar. It helps me out if you use that link. Thanks a bunch. Checking my other one for my hole. I see it. So the long screw. Drop it in there till I can feel it going in the hole. So I have the center one in and the one on that side, and I'm going to go ahead and do the one on this side. The hole's a little bit back on that one. You can kind of feel it. Have the front 3 screws in. Now I'm going to do the back ones. Just so you know, when I use the flashlight to see where the screw was, it's not exactly straight in there, so I'm having to move it over a little bit. You can tell. Just to make it a little bit even. So I became a little alarmed about this because I'm thinking, how is this going to go together? I checked the photo and I've actually got it upside down, so this little decorative thing goes in and it's going to sit on top of the sides and the doors. So I have the screws in the back. The front, I need to put screws in on this side and on that side. I'm not going to film that part because it's the same as we've just done. I had read on one review where someone had said that the screws went through the top of the piece of furniture, but I'm wondering if they didn't put them in here in the larger hole instead of the smaller hole, and it just went on down in there. So make sure that you put those in the smaller holes, not in the bigger holes. Those don't go all the way down. They don't go all the way through. This one has a hole that goes all the way through this piece of wood. That one does not. Now we have finished with step 3. So now we got to start using those cam things, which is kind of making me nervous. Which tells us do not send the unit upright without the back fastened. The unit may collapse. And we're going to take piece B, which I'm calling the side. They're calling it the left end, to the left molding, the piece that we just assembled. We're going to tighten 2 hidden cams. Then we're going to put the shelf E on that side and tighten those 2 hidden cams. So on the cams, it says that the cams must be completely tightened. Hidden cams that are not completely tightened may loosen and parts may separate. So what it's showing you is that, remember when we put the little arrow in there, and then we put the cam in, lined it up like that? That's going to go into the corresponding piece up here. So we put the cam on the left side, sticking out here. It's got to go into this part on N. The part that I just showed you doesn't go all the way through the wood. Same thing on that side. And then to tighten it, the arrows are pointed like down here. So you're going to have to turn it at least 190 degrees so that the arrow's not pointing this way anymore, but it's got to go all the way around, over halfway to at least 90 degrees. and the maximum is going to be 212 degrees. So they're telling you the arrow that used to point here, now it's to be pointing in the opposite direction and up a little bit. So those cams need to fit into those holes up at the top, and they do it in quite nicely. Now I've got to take that arrow that's pointing in that direction and turn it around so that it's pointing this direction and a little bit up. So that feels like it, instead of going straight across, it's maybe at 190. And they're a little hard to tighten. And I guess I've got to make sure that this is fit in here really well. That one seemed a little easier. So now we have those two pieces into the top. Now we need to put E, and we're going to make sure that we put this side with the hidden cams on the bottom, because we don't want to see it when we stand this thing up. So we've got the pieces with hidden cams towards the bottom. I'm going to fit it into here. Whoops, I almost made a mistake. You see what I almost did? This needs to go to the back. We don't want to see that, do we? We want to see this side. That would have been bad. So now let me check. This is going to be our top. This is going to be our left side. This is going to be our top shelf. And we're seeing the pretty side of it right there. We've got those in there so we can tighten those cams now. So we now have step 4 completed. Ready to move on to step 5. Step 5 is we're going to pretty much do what we've just been doing. We're going to put the C in there, then the bottom, and then put the right side on. So first we'll put C upright to the shelf, E, C in the middle to E. So this is part C, what they're calling upright. I'm calling the inside middle. And again, I'm going to check and make sure that I have the pretty side facing to the front. I do not want to put this side to the front. So I'm going to get the end with the cams up here. Make sure I've got the pretty side on the front. There we go. Now we have the first part done, upright C to the shelf E. Now we're going to put the bottom F to the left end. Here's F, the bottom, and neither side of this is finished, the front or the back, because we're going to put like a little apron thing on it anyway. But we do want to make sure that we put the pretty side facing that. You have hidden cams on this. Slide in there. There's got to be one that's tricky, right? There we go. Sorta. Now we have fasten the bottom to the left end, tighten the 2 hidden cams. We did that. Fasten the bottom to the upright C using 2 black 1 7/8 flathead screws 2S. So let's go back to our plastic container to get our 2S. Here's our 2S. There's 3 screws. We'll be using 2 in this step. So we're using 2 of the black 1 7/8 inch flathead screws. We're going to put them in the 2 holes here on the bottom. Here's the bottom. We have a hole here and a hole there. And we got to make sure the C lines up with it on the other side. Got to make sure that we try to line it up in there, so I'm going to have to get my flashlight to do that. This has actually been the trickiest part so far. I can see, or could kind of feel and find the hole and the part C up here. But down here, I was really fishing around, and when I put it in there, I just did not want to go in a hole, so I had to line this one up first, and then just try to eyeball. It's hard for the camera to focus down there. Try to eyeball down here and get it into what feels like it might be a little indentation. Hope so. Check in the text below this video, and I will provide a link on how you can get this product or one similar. Well, I got it in. There's no nails sticking out of either side. I guess we're good to go. So the next thing is to put the right end A, the right side A, to the shelf E, to the bottom F, and to the right molding M, and then tighten the 6 hidden cams. We're on step 6 now. We're going to fasten 4 metal brackets, 4G, to the ends A and B and bottom F. We're going to use the K and these 3 things, 4G, and 8 of the 1S black 9/16 large head screws. 1S, there's 9 of them. We're going to use 8 of them. Then we will use the 4G, these brackets. I actually had 10 of these, so I had a spare one. We do use all 4 of these brackets. I only saw 3 of them here, but we actually will put 1 on either side and 1 right here. I found that out when I was looking for the hole on the back of the K. So on the back of it, I was looking for a hole in the middle, but there's just a little tiny hole here, and then there's a little tiny hole down there. I'm going to mark those with red so I can find them a little bit easier. Here's the hole on the bottom. There's a, where was it? There's a hole right here. There's a hole right here. And there's a hole right there. These go on with this. And I don't really know if I should attach these first or the apron first. Means I have to flip this thing over. I'm not going to screw them all the way in case I have to adjust them. There's a little play there. Now the fun for the skirt. I'm going to crawl up underneath here. Or am I going to turn it over? I'm going to try to crawl up underneath it. I'm glad I marked that with the red marker because it would have been really, really hard to see otherwise. These are probably not going to be in straight, but who cares? Probably wish I'd have marked these with red. Yep, if you're doing this, I would put a little red mark back there because I'm going to have to move the camera so I can get close enough to see it. So sorry I can't film this part. Well, this one's a little bit easier to see. I don't know if it's going to be while I film it, but we'll try. Well, we'll try. I'm at an odd angle though, so I don't think so. I don't think I can film this one either. Oh, step 6 has been the hardest part so far. I'm gonna have to go back and tighten these because I did get them all on there, but didn't want to tighten them. You can see that it's loose, so I've got to get back in there and tighten those. Step 6 is now done. I honestly think it'd be easier to do that turning it over. I didn't turn it over, but now I forgot that I'm gonna have to turn it over anyway to put the back on. So if you're doing this, I would advise you, before you do step 6, go ahead and turn it over, see if that works for you. It may not because of the molding up there, but you're gonna have to turn it over anyway to put the back on. So it seems to me like putting these on might be a little bit easier upside down. I don't know, you tell me. So on the back, it says to make sure that you have equal margins along all 4 edges of the back. Push on opposite corners of your unit if needed to make a square. Fasten the back to your unit using the nails one in. Be sure to tap nails in the holes that line up over the upright and shelf E. So we're going to find one in, and we're going to use 51 nails in this step. We've got to make sure that this lines up with those pieces that we put in the middle and going across here. Yeah, I should have put that together after it was upside down. Now I know. So we have the back on. We're going to use one in. Here's one in. There's supposed to be 53 nails in there. We're going to use 51. I'm going to dump them in a bowl because I'm not chasing them all over the place. I just learned the hard way that there is a top and a bottom to the back because this part doesn't have any nail holes past here. So that's what goes up at the top. So this is the last nail hole up the center. And that corresponds with this shelf here. So they didn't put a top or bottom on there that I see. So be smarter than me and don't do that because these little nails are really hard to pull out. And these nail holes go all the way to the bottom because that C part goes all the way to the bottom. So let me line it up again. That way. Gonna check all 4 corners, make sure it's square. Good. So just to recap, when you're putting the back on, make sure that you put the pretty side down so that you'll see that when you flip it over. make sure that the piece in the middle that doesn't have any holes until about right here goes on the top part. And then I didn't have mine lined up correctly the first time. This needs to go all the way to the top or nearly to it, because you're going to have to nail in here, and that's got to go in this piece right here. I had it just underneath this part, but it has to be on top of this. I'm going to leave a little space because I don't want this popping up. Like I ran my finger along it, I don't want this popping up at the top. So now I think I'm ready to start going. I'm still going to put this one in first, and then some more to center it. And then I'm going to come up here so it doesn't wiggle around at the top, and then work my way down. I would not start at the bottom and try to start working your way around, because if it gets off, it's going to be really hard to straighten it up again.
Check in the text below and I'll provide a link where you can also buy this product or similar.
So this took about 6 minutes, and I didn't put the nails all the way in because I'm going to make sure I didn't make a mistake like I did before. But I still have some nails left over. Look at my fingers. They're kind of nasty, aren't they? I found 2 places I had not put nails in up here, and I counted, and there's 51 nails in the back, and I still have some left over, so I guess that's good. It has to be set up to put the doors on, so I'm going to flip it up and make sure that I did the back panel right. And then I'm going to hammer the rest of those nails in, and then we'll go on to... Then we'll move to step 8, but I should have this part done right here on step 7, having the back put in. I'll just have to finish tapping those nails in. I'm checking it out. It looks good so far. You can see it has the antique white finish. It's looking good. So I'm going to go ahead and tap the rest of those nails in. I got one boo-boo right there. That was one of the last ones I popped in, I think. Yep. It didn't have a hole set in it. This is one of the last 2 I did, and I went over too far. That was my fault because I didn't have little punches in here. So be careful about that. I went over too far. Yay! Let's do the doors now. Step 8. Fasten the hinges 13H to the doors H and I. Use 8 black 1/2 flathead screws. So we're going to find those and find these. So our hinges are 13H. There's also something in there 1M, and we need the 11S screws, and there's 8 of those. The other little piece must be the little felt pads. So we need to be working on the back side. So to set my doors up exactly how they have theirs, I'm going to have to put my H upside down over here and my I upside down over here. So I'm going to flip those around. Because I'm a visual learner, I had to lay mine out kind of like they have theirs laid out. So this is kind of confusing because they're showing you like the slats on here, and you don't really see that when it's flipped over on this side. That's just an element of the design on the front. But the latches are going to have to go in these 2 holes that are in the back. So I put my hinges and the 2 screws down here. The other 2 sets closer to that end to work on this end, and one down here. So they're showing you like this on this door, that this little swimming pool like thing, this little hole, goes there. And it does fit down in here. And so one screw will go here, and one screw will go there. And then on the right door, it's just the opposite. The little swimming pool thing goes down in there. Screw goes here. screw those there. If you have purchased one of these and put it together, please leave a comment below to let us know what was helpful. Thanks very much. Now we have completed step 8. We've got the hinges on there, and we're ready to do step 9. Carefully stand your unit upright. We've already done that. Before fastening the door to your unit, be sure the mounting screw is against the stops shown in the right diagram. So we'll have to figure that out. And then I've heard that this is tricky hanging the door, so fingers crossed. Now this is the part that's confusing. It says that before fastening the door to your unit, be sure that the mounting screw is against the stops as shown in the right diagram. If it isn't, loosen the mounting screws to slide it against the stops, and then tighten the mounting screw. So you would think that this, I'm sorry, my fingernails are falling apart. So I thought that this little screw here, the mounting screw, would slide back and forth this way so they could be pushed back here to the stops, but there's no way for, these little things are sharp, there's no way for that to happen. It doesn't slide anywhere, it just goes through this one hole, and I've taken it out to inspect it, and there's no sliding. It just goes in there. It just goes down in there. So all I know to do is just to kind of tighten it in there, but it does not go back and forth. So I don't know. This was a tricky part. I had read on Wayfair that a lot of people said they were not sure how to have these doors hung without 2 people, but I didn't have a 2 people team, so I figured out a way. You see that piece of styrofoam on the left side and that little, what looks like a bug down in the lower right hand corner? He could have helped a little bit more, couldn't he? One down, one to go. Some people are complaining about the doors not hanging evenly, so we'll see if I have that problem. That was not something I want to repeat doing, but I have to. doing this with my left hand, not ambidextrous. I highly recommend getting a box or something to set these on, because I don't think I would have been able to hold that thing up and get it in. Bring these a little bit past so I could see from my angle up here. Otherwise, I don't know how to sit in the hole up here. That one doesn't want to stay open for me long enough. Ow, sorry about that. It just doesn't want to go in here. Let's see if I can have it open. I have to do it that way. That screw seems like it's not in there straight. Please, please work. Look at that. It does work. They're mostly even. There's a little adjustment setting in there that I'll probably pull with later. But it's like after midnight. Flashlight strobing. And I'm just going to put the handles on and the cabinets in. Ready to put the knobs on the doors. Use the black 1/1/8 panhead screw 9/7. Use the knobs and 9/7. There's 2 of those in there. So put the knob, screw in, the knob on the screw. Repeat for the other side. Nice. Let's put the shelves in. We're almost finished. I knew we could do it. And we're supposed to put a felt pad where it comes into contact with the door. It does make it a little bit quieter. I guess they give you some spares in case these fall off. Step 10 provides some instructions on how to adjust the doors if they're not hanging right. You can adjust them vertically, and you can also adjust them if they're out of depth. But mine are not causing an issue for me, so I'm going to skip to step 11. Step 11 is they want you to use the safety bracket and put it on a stud in your wall. I'm not going to do that. So we're going to take the rubber sleeves and push them over the metal pins. Push the metal pins in the holes and locations of your choices so that you can make the racks as high as you want them. It tells you not to put anything over 10 pounds on the top, 50 pounds on this long shelf, 25 pounds on these, and then maybe 60 on the bottom total. Here's my 4 J shelves, and they do have J on the back of them, so when you put them in, make sure that you put them with the pretty side facing front. I'm going to use the 1 R's and the 2 R's. There should be 16 each. Just do this. And then put them in the they're a little harder to do than it looks. Those will go where you want to put your shelf. 2 on that side and then 2 on that side. There we go. And that's how you put your adjustable shelves in there. You can change those any way you like. I have a lot of plastic protectors, so I put the spare little pieces down in this, and we'll put this in the files in case I need to come back and revisit any of this. One problem I found when trying to put the shelves in, I couldn't put this shelf in equal with that one. It just wouldn't fit. And first I was thinking I was not going to be able to use this shelf at all, but I was able to get it in between the other 2 shelves on the other side, so that might be a situation for you as well. I also worked with the door adjustments to get them a little bit closer than they were. This is satisfactory to me. Mine open and close okay, but when I first worked on it, it was popping in here like it was wanting to catch right there. What I ended up doing was unscrewing these and adjusting a little bit, and then unscrewing that one and adjusting a little bit until I didn't get the popping anymore. So I could take the unevenness at the top when they're closed, but I couldn't do the popping when these were open and closed. It just took a little while of trial and error. So that is not a concern for me. Can you put this together? Maybe. I did. If I can do it, I think you can do it. Thanks for watching my video. Remember, it's free to like, subscribe, leave comments, share this video if appropriate, and give it a thumbs up. It doesn't cost you anything to do that. Leave your comment below. And if you have time before you go, watch another video, and let's just help each other solve problems. Bye.